What happens when Mercury, the planet of communication, thinking, analysis, and what you take from your environment, happens to stand still in the sky, station, and turn the other way around? Well, that is what this video will cover. Welcome to my channel. I'm Everett Curdy. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss future videos. And, well, it does support the channel quite a bit, so I would really encourage you to do that if you want to. That is. I don't want to be dictatorial. But so, with this Mercury retrograde, this is part of a series I'm doing on the Mercury retrograde season in Libra and Virgo 2022. And so I've already done parts 1 and 2. This is part 3 with Mercury retrograde in Libra. Now, I could have done this video on Thursday, but, before the retrograde happened yesterday, but I was busy with things, so I'm waiting until now to do it. And so, with Mercury retrograde, the pop culture, common in the media, huge narrative is that it's bad, that it creates problems, that technology goes out, that contracts just blow up in your face, and the person that you initiate a relationship with doesn't turn out to be what who you expected that person to be. In one particular case. Or it's not the best time to start new things and get something off the ground and really work yourself to the limit when there's a huge part of you that says, no, this is not right for you now. Don't push yourself this way. You're not motivated to do this. This won't serve you. Won't reap any reward from this. All of these kind of, just mental conversations. And, the whole zone of conscious information out there. Well, the caterpillar, if you were, okay, you probably read the story of the very hungry caterpillar where he was eating a lot of food and he got very fat, and so then he went into the cocoon and he went through that process and then emerged as this miraculous and beautiful free butterfly. And so this indicates the process of transformation. But right now we're in the cocoon phase. And so that has to be in place. Those steps, the change, the hard work, the sorting back through your life and reinventing, reorganizing, reflecting, restructuring of your life has to be taken into consideration and applied, where you need to go inside yourself and and get comfortable in your own house, internal house, because there's the physical house and then there's the internal spiritual house. And so now with Mercury taking its backspin, you can go inside your house and you can, see what needs cleaning up, where can I organize, the whole deal about feng shui, about what colors are uplifting and brighten the mood and cheer you up and have a really positive impact with you, what paintings or what pieces of jewelry, what pots, pans, ornaments, like what are the things that are useful and what are the things that you can just throw out the window with Mercury retrograde. So, while it's not the most forward moving time, it's not the best time for that. It has gone beyond the land of being superstition and conspiracy, because I have heard and read too many astrologers say, don't do this, don't do that. And you know what? There's a pretty darn good reason for that. Mercury retrograde is perhaps the most personal, literal, and I want to use the word invasive of all of the retrogrades. Whenever you're dealing with a personal planet, Mercury, Venus, or Mars, that impact and that jolt of change is going to be amplified, and it's going to be, heavier and more intense. But we can really use that to our advantage and know the energy and tap into the energy and use it, at its maximum. And so, I'd like to think of, Mercury retrograde at this time to, to relax and get comfy. Really, just as simple as, spending some time, inside more, spending some alone time, maybe going to the woods and looking at nature and clearing your head and, um, you know, just kind of regrouping. And with retrograde, that first syllable is re, and that's very, very important. I am hoping, honest to goodness, that this retrograde is going to be, um, this could be very healing. With issues that you had kind of coming in, you can sort of go through the dumping ground of stuff, all those piles of those little, life problems, be it with work, relationship, time management, etc., and clean it all up, and then exit the retrograde moving forward. It's really, the divine cosmic spirit. You're a car and you're basically at a stoplight. You're probably, I don't know, there's a card from an oracle deck from a spiritual teacher, intuitive oracle card expert, singer, call it Bjorn Reed, called Stuck in the Mud. And basically what this card is about is this elephant is literally stuck in the mud. And that's really, one of the cards for Mercury retrograde, of where, looking around and seeing your surroundings around you, not just continuing to push forward, as sometimes you might be stagnant or you might hit a dead end, or whenever you try to work so hard, you just, need to take that time out. And I have a, post that I wrote some time ago on taking a break. And so a lot of the, spiritual message and lesson type posts, content will be over there, so you can go check out that. When I want to commercialize something or advertise for something, it is, I'm planning on not being, expensive, going on Facebook, checking out my page. And I used to do a lot of live streams and constant videos before I had a Facebook page. I produced a lot of videos, very continually. Now, it's sort of evened out, and I do make less videos, and so anyway, the balance. And balance is indeed a word that I want to really bring into the mix with the last retrograde. With this retrograde, the last one really was very, very, intense. It was rough. With what was going on in my life at the time, it was most inconvenient. I had a new computer coming, and I had something big, and I don't want to get into that, and it was in Gemini, which is like it's like the sign that Mercury rules, and the effects of the retrograde are heightened, so it rules your thoughts, your thinking. It is a sign ruled by Mercury, and it's also not an earth sign like Virgo. The difference between Gemini and Virgo, and they are square to each other, but they do have that mercurial similarity, is Virgo is an earth sign. It's very practical and detailed, and like we want to structure and make our environment and our lives healthy. But Gemini is like, running around all over the place, very mutable, over here, over there. And so, my mind, and I'm sure a lot of other people's minds, were like monkeys with, on, just couldn't calm down. So meditation, journaling, yoga, slowing down and listening to music, wonderful things at that time. And then at this time, and it's important to be prepared and know what you're getting into when it comes to Mercury retrograde. So that's my spiel about that. But so things could happen, but those are signs where you need to slow down, and maybe it's something that you're not seeing, or you haven't learned, or a lesson that you haven't integrated and brought into your life to practice, where okay, here is this is a glitch, and now I'm neutral, I'm calm, and I'm open, and I'm willing to ride the wave of the retrograde, which kind of gets a bad rap. However, it can really, really be an exciting and very potent time. And, especially in the winter time, when it's all about, that reflection, going into, the lake is frozen over, and you're inside your house more. It's colder, and it's kind of like when you start your New Year's resolutions, and then the next month in February, or you start it and you're all motivated, pumped up, and let's do this, and then you just then you lose the commitment and the ambition to fulfill those kind of things, and that's winter. So I would recommend that you, over the course of winter, kind of develop and kind of take note on what you want for the new astrological year, which begins March 21st, March 20th. And then on March 21st, March 20th, that would be probably a way easier and better time theoretically to to really go for your New Year's resolutions, because it's spring, it's Aries season. The energy, you feel like you want to get out and do something, because Aries is a masculine sign, and that's that masculine energy. So Mercury retrograde in the winter time, you know, that is, definitely, that's maybe one of the best times of year for the, Mercury retrograde. But so anyway, um, and so, you may, again, there may be misunderstandings. I know there was kind of a misunderstanding with something today, so it was like, this is not surprising. So, and Mercury retrograde does happen very often. It happens about 3 times a year. So this year, we've had Mercury retrograde in Aquarius and Capricorn. The previous retrograde was, May 10th through June 3rd with Gemini and Taurus, and then now we're Virgo and Libra, so the air and the earth signs. Mercury is retrograding in those signs this year. So, yeah. And so it's an air sign, so reevaluating how we're thinking, how we're interacting with other people in the earth signs. How are we going to get grounded? What are the results of this thing? How is this actually going to work? And where does does the rubber hit the road? Basically, so Mercury retrograde in Libra is really, I don't know why I have this image, but I see like a gutter when I think of Mercury retrograde. I don't know, I just see a gutter. And maybe that is, kind of a random image, but maybe that could hold some importance and meaning, because it's really cleaning out the gutter of your mind, evaluating your relationships, because Libra corresponds to the seventh house, and the seventh house is the house of relationships, especially marriages, as well. And Venus retrograde, probably not the one to get married, but during that time, and Mercury retrograde, I wouldn't start new relationships, or take those risks. And there's certain things that can't wait, and there's certain compromises that have to be made, and you have to live your life with caution. Don't go in your room and bury your head in the sand, and just not get out and do something just because Mercury is retrograde. But it's just a balance and a compromise, really. So yeah, you need to live your life, and that's just the fact. The world is not shutting down. The technology industries aren't shutting down. The new businesses, when they're hiring new employees, that's not shutting down either. So you wonder why all these things are still functioning or still operating while Mercury is retrograde. You wonder why. Yeah. People have lives to live. That's why. So, Mercury retrograde in Libra, looking at your relationships. Let's just start off with codependency being a martyr, being a yes person, being a people person, being a people pleaser, and just giving in and saying, really, denying yourself of what you want and what you need in your own personal desires and goals and what you want to get out of the relationship. And, it's important to, be peacemaking with other people and draw the olive branch and see the other side and be open and present to receiving new information, and to be sort of the, follow that middle way to, be the middle road, and to see the different sides and to observe the different sides of an issue, to not be so fixed and set in your own side or opinion or viewpoint or claim about this, about a particular, you know, commandment or ruling or any kind of situation in life. And, so, Libra, the sign of the scales, balance, what is out of balance. This could be just in terms of, well, I don't know, there's so many things. Or, this could be, overworking yourself, eating too much sugar, not getting enough sleep, spending too much time inside instead of getting outside in nature and seeing the birds and the sky and the beauty all around you, and clearing your mind and expanding your soul and mind. And that's just one example. There are many examples of this. That's really the truth. And the other thing with Libra is that it's a sign that can be very indecisive, kind of, kind of decide to do this, but then there was this show I was watching, and this is exaggerated, The Good Place, if you've ever seen it on Netflix, and Shady from the show was kind of a, not so positive trait would be being indecisive. Having trouble deciding which type of muffin to get in the morning for breakfast or brunch. Deciding what to use, either a pen or a whiteboard marker, what hat, brown or white, what would be better. Evaluating the different sides, mapping out the list of pros and cons, studying up on all the sides of a given issue, but then coming to a final decision and being that Aries determined, you're going on your own path, this is something right or wrong for me, and just taking action, and just, choosing to do something, making a choice, not just sitting that, where there's a fork in the road. Just take a path and see where it leads you. If you don't get where you need to go, well, then reorient yourself and go another way, try another path. Or maybe, you have enough where your life is just fine at the moment, and so just live life as it is. If if it's just the best thing for you, who knows what is the best or not the best for you. So And I can't tell you that. You're the one to determine that. We all are as individuals, after all. So, Libra is also about beauty. So bringing in the beauty, engaging in the arts, sitting down and listening to beautiful classical music. It's a wonderful time to, sit down and just listen to a really, really good piece of music, or a podcast, or just to sit and watch the flowers and the grass grow, and to sit and simply, just sit down and read a novel, or watch the sunset, or, do something along those lines, which is very calming, stress-free, and relaxing, and cleansing, and it revives you and it refreshes you now that you've taken that break, for then the next run, and then continuing on your path in life with whatever the task is that you need to get done. So, is the environment harmonious? Is there too many arguments? Is there too much strain or tension? Let's just say that. And so take your, and it, again, I just want to say, I don't want to preach. I don't want to tell you, what to do. I'm just giving suggestions and advice and content and information when I do these videos. So, finishing projects, like really sitting calmly at your desk with your computer, and maybe you've started writing a blog, or an idea, or a dream that you've had long ago that maybe you want to pull up again, and something that needs to come up to be healed, and that's an unresolved scenario that needs to be kind of where the dust needs to be settled of a particular relationship conflict, for example. Not just keep, pushing it away and, continue with your life and just deny it and, disregard it and completely cut yourself off from it. And it does depend on, on the issue. And, with the project, take your time and know that there may be mountains that may be there, and that represents the obstacle. That represents, okay, now I have to put the effort in. It may be a long stretch. I may have to climb really, really hard and heavy. It may be exhausting to climb uphill, but just slowly and surely. It's a marathon, not a sprint. No, don't rush and, go all in, it's instead of, going intense and, I'm going to, read this book in a day, or I'm going to build this, house in this amount of time, and I'm going to promise this and promise that, and then then you have, then you're stressed because you have to get it together and work and do step by step, and then it's just too much, too overwhelming. So yeah, deadlines, well, that is involved here as well. It does take, because the sun is in Virgo for the first half of this, so it's very time management and very, the mind prioritizing, here's what I need to do here, here's what I need to do over here. And so, that's, management of, you have a day and I'm scheduling. I'm going to do this at this time for this long, and sort things out ahead of time to have having the foresight for the particular plan in life. And so finishing stuff. And that's really, really being the star of your own life, running your own life, balancing relationships. That's really how it is. The sun will move into Libra on September 21st, and then Libra's Mercury is going to enter the mid phase of the retrograde and going to move into Virgo, and it's going to be kind of a different type of conversation, which I'll hopefully get to at that time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.